So I thought that it was a good time to make some videos. Um, there is always a lot going on in my life, all the time. It happens very quickly in a short amount of space. And a lot of things I've been working on recently, and I really just wanted to share my process of just like all the things that I might encounter, work on, things that might come up in my mind during like all this change, and like how I've worked on navigating it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, and so much easier to do it free flowing on a video than writing or making like bits of things here and there. It's just nice to like get it all out, put it there, leave it there, return back to it if I need to. I love going back to like bits of data just to see my progress and how things have like changed over time. I love that because I think we always get to a stage where we're like, oh my god, this is horrible, things are going badly, what do? I can't like see how this is gonna work out. I can't see myself, you know, overcoming this. And then like fucking like 2 weeks later, you're like, fuck. Like this process was so much quicker than I expected, and it wasn't as scary as I expected. So yeah, it's nice to do this video and to talk about what's been going on, because there's been so much going on, and I'm always a bit like, where do I start with the backstory? So I'm just gonna start with where I am. I'm gonna fill in bits of information that is relevant, and if I don't fill in enough information, that I will follow up on another video. So I'm gonna start with where I am today and what's going on and the things that I'm working on and how I'm navigating the change in these spaces and with these things. Okay, so at the moment I'm in Bangkok, and I just arrived maybe 2 days ago, and coming to Bangkok was very unexpected. I don't mind being here for a few days, but I'm kind of here like indefinitely until I figure some things out. I really don't know how long that could be. That could be tomorrow, that could be next week, that could be a month. I kind of hope I'm not here for a month, because Bangkok can be intense, you know. It's very busy, it's very hot, and I just feel a little bit uncomfortable here. If I was to be here for a few days or a week, 2 weeks, I can do that. A month, very uncomfortable. Anyway, so backstory. At the moment, I am working on changing careers. So changing from being an English teacher online to being a full-time creative, and in whatever manner that needs to be for me, just because there are multiple things that I love to do. And I think one thing that I really learned through this process, especially in the last 2 months, is that I need to allow myself to be open to a multitude of opportunities and possibilities. For a long time, I just said, you know, I want to write, I want to make money through writing. But recently I just realized like I was like limiting myself in so many different ways, and I think that in itself was very frustrating. That's like where all my frustration came from, and it just made things harder. Like, why would I limit myself when there are so many other things that I can be doing that I enjoy, that I can make money from, that could provide the life and the lifestyle that I want? So why would I restrict myself? So that's definitely a big thing that I've learned about pursuing a creative career, or just anything in general. You know, I think we really limit ourselves, and we have this like narrow vision, like this is what I want to do, this is how it's gonna look, this is how it's gonna happen, you know, that this is how long I'm gonna do it for, all these things. It's control. We love to control things, and unfortunately in that state of control, we limit ourselves, and we actually make life a lot harder for ourselves than it should be, which is our own doing. But like, that's no one else's fault but our own. So we are creating and perpetuating our own suffering. I came to Bangkok because I felt, you know, my intuition was kind of telling me to come here. And yeah, pretty much. So initially I've been traveling for about 20 months, and the first year was very playful, just kind of like dotting around different places. Yeah, just not worrying about things too much. And then after that, I was like, okay, you know, it's time to, and like I had built this lifestyle for myself, you know, so I had gotten the lifestyle and I was like, yeah, I love this. But I need a bit more stability. I would love to be in a career that I am truly passionate about, and I want to earn more money, you know, and also like I want to also connect with more like-minded people. So at the end of the first year, I was like, it's time to pursue a career that I want. It's time to start earning money. And for me, that's a bit of a challenge. It's always a bit of a challenge when you're changing careers. Like, I've never pursued a creative career before. My background is in sports and health and wellness. So I used to be a gymnast when I was younger, and then I went into coaching gymnastics and coaching sports since I was 15. And then I studied nutrition, and I worked in behavior change, health psychology, positive psychology. And so yeah, when I was 24, so from 15 to 24, that was like 18 to 24, that was my world. You know, I was either training, or I was coaching, or I was learning about it, studying it, facilitating it. And when I was 24, I had enough, and I was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna like go to China and become an English teacher, which I did for 3 years, 3 months. And then after I left China, I started traveling. So I haven't pursued a creative career, and there was so much, you know, there was so much negativity, I would say, around pursuing a creative career. A lot of fear and doubt around how you're gonna make money. It's more like how you're gonna make money, but I also think pursuing a creative career is so different, you know. So you're learning how to build your own structure and your own communities. It's just so different from everything we've been taught at school. Obviously, everything we've been taught in a 9-to-5 job. So when it comes to taking that leap, making that change, it can be very messy in figuring out how to navigate this. Even though it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, it is something that I feared for a long time. And that is something that I wanted to like approach. I wanted to confront and conquer in this year. So at the first few months of the year, I went home finally. I visited London for the first time in like 4 years, and then I spent some time in Turkey, and then I decided that I would come back to Thailand, you know, to get a breakthrough. I just wanted a breakthrough in Korea, and I felt like Thailand was a good space to be. It's affordable. I feel safe here. I know people here. I've got a community. I know how to get around. I feel comfortable being here. and especially in Pi, which is where I was gonna go. I was gonna go spend 2 months in Pi. I was gonna get my head down, focus, work on my breakthrough, and then I was gonna go to, I did think maybe I wanted to live in Pi for a year. It'd be nice to have a city foundation. And then in between that time, go to New Zealand to see my friend who is just moved there. So that was the plan, right? That was the plan. But obviously plans don't go according to plan. Of course, plans don't go according to what you expect and think they will. So I went to Pi, and it was great to be back. And you know, when I was in Pi, it was kind of like hibernation season. It was kind of like, okay, we're just gonna, a little bit of a retreat. Like I create a retreat for myself, and in that time I did a lot of work, 2 months. Things changed. I didn't expect that I would be so reserved when I went back to Pi, because I just love it there and know a lot of people there, and was always doing stuff and trying everything out and hanging out with people. But this time was so different. I just, like, the first month I was sleeping about 10 to 14 hours a day, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But I think my body just really needed that rest. But I was so annoyed, because I was like, I need a breakthrough. I need to make things happen. I can't be sleeping 10 to 14 hours a day. And so I was literally like living off electrolytes, and I even really struggled to talk to people. It just felt really draining. I don't know why, but I couldn't speak to anyone for more than 10, 15 minutes. I think all of my energy needed to stay within myself. I couldn't give out as much as I normally would. So that was really, really interesting. But yeah, in that time, a lot of journaling, a lot of counseling, coaching, mushrooms. You know, I was doing mushrooms once a week, just working on identifying what subconscious beliefs and thoughts I had that was standing in my way, and trying to figure out how can I move through these things or let go of them, so that I can align with the actions that I need to take, align with the identity that I want to embody, shifting from being an English teacher to being a creative, shifting from living out of a suitcase and traveling to traveling but having a stable community and a stable home, and shifting out of like just making enough money to meet my needs to making more than enough money to meet my needs, and then some, to be able to do more with that, to create, to give back, to explore, to play, you know. So these were my biggest blocks, and I think maybe part of me slept so much because it was a technique of avoidance. I was really, really scared in confronting these things. I knew it was a mental thing. I knew that, well, I know that my outer reality is a reflection of my inner space, my mindset, my perspective, the way that I see life, and how I respond to these things around me and these topics. And I was just like, like, what do I need to see? How do I need to shift my mind? Because I felt like I was just hitting a brick wall with the topic of shifting careers, with the topic of making more money, with the topic of building and expanding this lifestyle and this life that I wanted. I had so much fear in pursuing the career that I wanted. Fear around being seen, fear around expressing myself authentically and fluidly, fear around yeah, just, I think also like fear around just being in my power. And I've heard this a lot recently, but I think a lot of us are really scared to, and I just found it really funny actually, because I think a lot of us are really scared to talk about, okay, this is who I am, this is what I know, this is what I'm good at, I am comfortable with sharing this and expressing this to the world. And it's weird because I think a lot of us are scared to do that when there is also a ton of people that are doing it and being praised for it and are amazing, and we love them. You know, for example, athletes and artists and musicians and coaches. And it's like, you know, I love the Olympics and I look at these athletes and they have to be in their power. You know, they have to be, or else they're fucking not gonna win an Olympic gold medal. You know, they have to show up as their full selves. And it's ironic how a lot of us are scared to show up as our full selves because we're, you know, scared of shame or embarrassment, judgment. And it's like, well, a lot of people are doing it, and they are being congratulated for it. So why can't we all be congratulated for it? During that time, I did a lot of work, and it was kind of like a race against the clock. I had 2 months on my visa, and I wanted that to be finished so that I would go and see my friend in New Zealand. And yeah, by that time, I just wanted to get some momentum with shifting into a new career, earning a bit more money than I've been earning through teaching. And that was the plan. And yeah, so in that time I did a lot of work, coaching, counseling, journaling, mushrooms. And actually mushrooms was like really, really helpful. I love dreams. I think dreams are such a beautiful, beautiful tool to show you subconsciously what's going on and what you need to work on. Because a lot of the time we can neglect what we know we should look at, know what we should work on, know what we should take action on. And the beautiful thing is that your dreams will be like, no, no, you can't avoid this. You need to look at this. This is a problem. So after my first mushroom trip, I like my dreams every night, or like a 6-hour movie. Swear to God. Every time I would go to sleep, I just felt like I was going to work, which probably was also contributing to why I was sleeping so much. But so much came up in my dreams, and it was great because I could see what I needed to work on, which I loved. It just really added to me working on this breakthrough and making some changes and movements and momentum. I procrastinated a lot during that time, and yeah, I didn't really take action until maybe the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks before leaving, before my visa was up. I suddenly was like, shit, I've got to wake up, I've got to do something, I've got to make big changes. I can't keep delaying, prolonging this. My excuse was like, I need more time, I'm not ready, I'm confused, I don't know what action to take. Do I do this? Do I do that? Yeah, it was just like in this kind of like entanglement of thoughts and of fear and of confusion, and of procrastination. And time is such a great motivation, isn't it? But yeah, I did have, you know, what was interesting is before my visa ended, there was some shifts that were changing. I was being challenged a lot in my life in lots of areas, and I was being challenged to let go of old structures that weren't working. And I was so ready and prepared for this actually. A lot of relationships, whether it was friendships, romantic relationships, even like in teaching and work, there are some things that were challenging me to either say no, to set a boundary, or to let go of. And I was in a space where I was like, yeah, whatever, fuck this. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna end this friendship. I'm gonna change my work hours. I'm not gonna people please anymore. I'm gonna stop teaching children. And I knew that was a massive sign that I was ready to let go of the life and lifestyle that I had held on to and embodied for so long, to let go of this, to let go of that, to clear space for something new. And that's what you have to do. You can't hold on to both. You can't try and hold on to the old lifestyle while trying to pursue the new lifestyle. They cannot coexist, you know? So one is always going to be more than the other. And if my old lifestyle is taking up a lot of space, the new lifestyle has a little space. So, you know, there's only so much space that it can exist. So it makes sense that I have to make that transition of letting go of the old lifestyle, letting go of old people, old things, old places, and spending more time, putting more attention and focus into creating the new lifestyle. And that itself is going to grow and grow and grow and grow and evolve. And I'm going to understand more of how to create this, how to be involved in it, how to navigate it, how to expand it. And so, yeah, that was happening like around about a month before I was leaving. And I was like, yeah, I feel this so strongly. And so that was a great sign for me, but it was crazy. It was like literally every day something happened where I had to say no, or where I had to like let go of a friendship, or I had to set new boundaries. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? It was so strange. Or like, yeah, some people like pushing boundaries. And I was like, whoa, like what the fuck is going on? You know, so it was super interesting, but that was a great sign and great indication that change was happening. So I was doing a lot of underground work in Pi, and it got to the stage where I was like, okay, well, I'm here because this is my comfort zone, because this is where I feel safe, but things are not going to happen here, and I need to leave this. So even though this feels financially, physically, emotionally, mentally safe to be here, and actually it was kind of getting boring, you know, I was bubbled up and it was starting to rain a lot, and I wasn't interacting with people as much. I kind of felt like, let's get out of this now. Let's explore. Let's integrate everything that I've learned in the last 2 months and everything that I've worked towards. Let's integrate this. Something I've like learned massively. I always kind of grew up with, I don't know, this was like my coping mechanism. Anytime that I was triggered, I would like isolate myself for a month, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna meditate, I'm gonna read a lot of stuff, I'm gonna listen to a lot of stuff, and then when I feel good again, I'm gonna go back into the world. I'm gonna socialize, etc., etc. But that was the pattern that I was in and out of for years, and it's like, well, you can't do that, Dana. You can't do that. You need to be in the world to learn, to grow, and to connect. You know, I love connecting with people. I love self-development. I love hearing about other people's stories. I love adding more to my story. And I have to do that by being involved in the world. I can't isolate myself all the time. I can't do that. So when I was in Pio, I kind of realized that. I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was being called to go to Bangkok. And you know, yeah, so I left Pi and I was like, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And I also felt like going to Bangkok, you know, is the point out of Thailand. So it just brings me one step closer to going to New Zealand with my friend and, you know, seeing her. but I'm just not quite ready as yet. So I'm just gonna move towards Bangkok and prepare myself even more. And on my way to Bangkok, so from Pai I have to take a 3-hour drive to Chiang Mai, and there I was there for two nights, and then from Chiang Mai I took a 10-hour bus to Bangkok. And on the way there I was like anticipating, it's like, yeah, these things are gonna be good. I'm gonna put myself in a space where I can interact with people, maybe I can network, I can come across some opportunities and possibilities that will lead me to the opportunities I want to connect with, the career that I want to be involved in, and making more money, and then I can just like leave and go to New Zealand and everything will be sorted, you know, bish bash bosh. But when I got here, literally, like, I dropped my stuff off at the hostel, and I was like, why the fuck am I in Bangkok? You know, Bangkok can be quite intense, it can be quite hot and crowded and busy, chaotic, noisy. I was like, why am I here? I feel so lonely being here. And I think that's a feeling that I get every time that I get to a new city. It's like, I've got to start over again. And that's why I tend to go back to old places like Pai, because I know people there. So it's like, you know, I'm going back to people I know. But I was like, why am I here? It doesn't logically make sense to be here. Financially, it doesn't make sense. I don't feel as comfortable here as I would in Pai. But I think that's how you know that you're creating something new, by doing something that doesn't logically make sense. And people will be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Doing something that doesn't logically make sense doesn't make sense, but it kind of does. You know, if I want to create change, if I want new results, I've got to do things differently. I really do. And in a way, I'm putting myself myself in a slightly uncomfortable situation to stimulate growth, to stimulate evolution, to stimulate change. And I think of it as like when you go to the gym, right? If you're training, over time you've got to increase your reps, increase your sets, increase your weight. That's how you stimulate growth. That's how you stimulate change. And that's what I see in this situation, that this slight uncomfortability will push me to taking the action, to doing the things I need to do to achieve my goals. So I'm here in Bangkok, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's why I'm here. And last year, when so much had happened in terms of leaving China and creating this lifestyle for myself, and shifting from teaching in a kindergarten to teaching adults English online, were massive achievements for me. And that was a process I didn't document because I really was very scatty. Didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if it would work. I was so scared. So I kept everything to myself. But it worked. And I knew the process throughout it. I knew how to navigate all of it, although it was there were some kind of scary moments where I was like cutting it really close to time or to finances. I made it happen. So I really want to document this time to just show more of my process of navigating these changes, and hopefully giving other people insight and knowledge, or whatever sparks inspiration for them. They can apply it to whatever they've got going on in their life.